Good day, good people, and welcome to Real Chicks Represents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with you today. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Well, it's raining, it's storming, it's doing what it does. I think it's global warming. It's just off. Like March was cold right up until the end, and it's 80 degrees, and it drops down, it's 30, 40 degrees. It's all over the place. But we can use the rain because pollen is everywhere. So hopefully this rain will be here for a little bit to wash everything away. But like I said, I'm always super excited to be here with you on Sundays. This is April. April marks, this is my 9th year.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the month that
Congrats.
we celebrate. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Little Big C. Yeah, so I'm super excited. I've been doing this for a minute. And there's just so much more content to cover. So just stay posted. Just, fasten your seatbelts. We'll talk about that in the future. But for today, I'm always excited when I get this guy on my show. Is this like your fourth time?
About that, fourth or fifth.
You've been here. You trying to be a regular customer?
I thought I'm a regular.
You trying to be a regular guy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm like your Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a name you don't hear every day. You got to be from up top to even know who that guy is about. My guest today is Carl Agard. Welcome, Carl.
All right, thanks for having me back. I'm here.
Oh, man.
Blessed to be here.
Yeah, man. So glad to have you. The topic today is from finance to real estate. What's next? We're going to cover a whole lot of stuff because you're that Renaissance kind of guy.
Yeah, and a lot going on. A lot of changes in 2025.
Yeah, man. It's a lot going on. First and foremost, how you doing?
I'm here. I'm good.
You good?
Thank you. Yes.
You looking good.
Thank you.
You represent NY to the fullest.
Yes, always.
Always.
Uh-huh.
I
had to come clean for the show.
You had to come clean.
Yeah.
I'm glad you ain't got no Brooklyn paraphernalia. You gave me a break today with the Brooklyn stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. How's the boys? How's your sons?
Kids are good. So I got one graduating Howard next month.
Congratulations.
And he got a good job with Deutsche Bank.
Wow.
Yeah,
we were just sending him off just like the other day.
Literally, 4 years went so fast.
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations where you were like, the boys are trying to decide where they want to go.
One of the shows.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So one is going to finish next month?
Next month.
Wow.
And the other one's a freshman.
Congrats.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you. I think the last show we did, he was deciding on colleges also. And we was talking about building your funds for college, savings and everything like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is he's following his brother's footsteps, right? He's going to the same school?
Business management, everything like that. Yeah.
Good kids. Good job, Dad. You did good.
Thank you.
You did good.
Yeah. So that's why I got to keep doing real estate, everything like that.
Yeah,
you got kids in college.
You got kids.
They still got needs. It never ends.
Don't say that, man, because I'm about.
You about to have one.
I'm at the doorway. I'm about 45 days away.
Yeah.
For high school graduation. Nobody's counting. I am counting. I'm counting. And mixed emotions about it, Carl. You know what I mean? Because since from a mother's perspective, he's been inside of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now he is going to be 18 in June. He's already selected his college. We're trying to prepare. And I know summer's going to go really quick.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be gone.
And it goes fast also.
Yeah, it goes quick. It goes quick. And
I remember him helping you at your booths.
I know, right?
You're a little tight.
Yeah, he's a little fella. Most of the people here in Atlanta always remember him being little. And those Facebook memories are a killer. Yeah. Because they'll come through and show me when he was little and I get a little teary-eyed.
Yeah.
I do.
They'll hit you too at the right moment.
I get a little teary-eyed.
Like 10 years ago.
You know what I mean?
And they all little.
Yeah,
you're like,
little. So have you adjusted to being an empty nester? How you doing with that?
Yeah, it's a give and take. Okay, so the funny thing was, we in a group with the parents up in Johns Creek High School. Okay. And one of the parents was like, hey, the weird thing is going to be like little things like when you go to the store.
Yes, okay.
And you find yourself not buying
as much
yogurt and cereal anymore.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like the weirdest thing until I went to Kroger. And now both of them was away at college. I go to Kroger and after I buy my stuff, I sit there in the cereal section and the pudding and the snacks, and I'm like, what do I do now?
Yeah,
and that's when it kind of hit me. I was a little teary-eyed. I was like, wow, what do I do now? Like, I just came and bought like chicken and macaroni for myself, and that's it.
Essentials.
Yeah,
that was it. And
right.
you walked out with one bag, maybe two.
Yeah, that's it. Usually come 8.
Yeah, or a whole buggy, pushing the buggy to the car, unloading.
So that was the weird thing. Then the extra free time.
Yeah.
Then you pass a high school and you're like, what are they doing up there?
Oh my God.
I started stalking the high school.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I had the kids there in the Alpharetta Johns Creek district for so long, and like going to the trips, the basketball game, both of them play ball, PTA meetings, teachers meetings.
Yes.
So then, like the first month, I see all the cars up there going. I'm looking like, what are they doing up there?
Yeah.
I start wandering around the school for no reason.
Man, you took it pretty hard. A little different. It was different for you.
It's different. Of course, on one hand, as a parent, you're, especially when you self-employed, you work from home, so you more involved with the kids than usual.
Yeah.
So God bless that I was able to do real estate mortgages on my own business that I'm with the kids from beginning to end. I'm able to get them dinner and go on trips. And they go on business trips with me, everything.
It's beautiful.
So then when they're gone, now you got the free time. So you're like, all right, let me now see what I could do with this space. Downsize, see what to do with the space, do some traveling, do some work that you normally don't do, stuff like that. And you're also blessed that you did a good job. You feel that too, that you get your kids where you need to be.
And Carl, I'm gonna say this. You're looking good. You always look good.
Thank you.
But you don't have the stress or the responsibilities of your 2 boys like you did before. So now you really on that health and wellness kick. Your skin is popping. You're glowing.
Working out more, a little bit extra money in your pocket. Then you give it up because they need something. But it's a different thing for everyone out there. When we talk about finance, getting your stuff straight up, that's what it's for, really. If you have kids, you want to build a legacy for them, leave them a legacy. And then the next thing is that, hey, what do I got to do with my insurance policies, everything like that, so that they're able to build their generational wealth.
You're talking now. Let's just jump right into the finance. Because you are a father, you were married, and you have 2 beautiful sons, 2 handsome young men in Howard. What was it for you, Carl, that made you say, you know what, I gotta not be trying to floss and bling and be showing and throwing money away. I really gotta do something. How did it happen for you?
Well, first of all, it was like in college when I went to Syracuse.
Okay.
You see the differences between the white parents and the black parents, where like the white parents set the kids up from day one.
Okay.
They had their money for their snacks, their school.
Okay.
They had internships every summer.
Okay.
Whereas our parents barely had enough to get us to school.
You tell them.
They didn't have any connections for internships.
Yeah, that's right.
We had to fend for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then you see they always ahead on the track.
Gotcha.
So my thing was that I'm going to make sure my kids will be on that track also.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, make the sacrifices of living in certain school districts, getting an education set up from even daycare, put them in Creme de la Creme, Primrose Academy, and them schools wasn't cheap either.
No, still ain't cheap.
Yeah. But put them in the right track. Then you're setting up. Okay, we talked about it in previous shows that I had a co-op in Brooklyn for a long time.
Yeah, you did.
I had it for $25,000. It was by the Barclay Arena before they built it.
Yes.
Once they built it, it was worth $500,000.
That's what we talking about.
So me, they mom, our idea was, hey, when time comes, we'll sell that. So that's their college money. And that's what happened, basically.
Yeah.
So we had the property even before we had kids, but we said, hey, we want to do what the others are doing for their kids.
Right.
And have real estate set up, insurance policies set up, everything like that. So they're able to go to college without having a whole bunch of debt, student loans, pick what school they want to go to comfortably. Because we went through that when we was going to college. We had friends that went through that had to drop out of school prematurely. And sometimes everyone made it to college for those reasons.
Yeah. First of all, I never met your ex-wife, but I want to shout her out because you two have a great partnership, right? Even though your marriage didn't work, you remain cordial and civil and friends. And the focus has always been about your boys.
Right.
And you two have always did whatever you needed to do. I think from what I gathered from you, the communication was always there.
Yeah.
So I want to just, tip my hat to her and commend her because to look at the relationship and say, okay, the relationship didn't work, but I'm not going to take anything away from you as their parent.
Right.
It speaks volumes. And so that's why you got 2 nice, healthy young men going to college, which will help in their future when they go in relationships, because they don't have to worry about my dad didn't love me, or he wasn't there, or him and my mom was always beefing. The toxic stuff. They're healthy coming out the gate.
Right.
So thank you for that. Thank you to both of y'all for just making that investment.
Thank you a lot. And then another thing just to tell people is that doing mortgages, real estate, I do a lot of divorced couples.
Yes.
And my situation I saw was a minority. Like 5% of those people work it out after together. Most of the deals that I see are contentious.
Yes, sir.
And it's sad because it gets into way of the overall picture for the kids.
Yes.
Because, for example, if we had litigation, the lawyers would have got most of that money.
They would have.
Yeah. I seen cases where one want to sell, the other don't want to sell. They either got to go to court or it's tied up. Someone don't want to do this, someone don't want to do that. Well, people got to realize it hurts the kids in the end.
Yeah.
Because what happened is when you do sell, now you got dealing with the courts. You got to go through the courts. Everyone got to get a lawyer. Lawyers charging you $100 an hour. And that take away from what you got to do for the kids.
That is correct.
Another thing is, even recently, I was doing a refinance for a client in New York. She's divorced. Going about maybe 6-7 years.
Okay.
Last minute, the husband said, no, I don't want to sign on certain things.
Okay.
And the deal fell apart.
Okay.
If minor, because they just don't still want to agree on things.
Okay.
And so basically, the money that she would have pulled out to do repairs to the house, she got 2 daughters in college. They affected. Another one about to go a couple of years. Improvement to the house that they own, wherever they agree to. Because, divorce could go any different way.
Tell me about it.
It could be we all agree to split it up.
Yeah.
It could be one person stay.
Yeah.
The other person puts the money.
Right.
Then down the road, they might have an agreement to sell. They might say, hey, we split the equity.
You got to buy one out.
Somebody got to buy one out. Someone got to stay, but you got to be able to buy the other person out.
Yeah, man. All of that.
So when you have that in mind, that affects the finances for the household.
Yeah.
And especially with kids involved, it becomes harder. So just for example, the deal fell apart.
Yeah.
Now, whatever money the kids need for school, they didn't have.
They didn't have it. Nor did the house get the repairs it needed.
Right.
So now the house is not at the full quality it could potentially be, because you need money to keep it up. That's one thing about home ownership.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you preach to the first time home buyers, because it looks pretty, but it's a huge responsibility. Because it's not only just making sure you have money for the mortgage and the taxes, but you got to keep the property up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the value up. The thing for you, Carl, which has always been amazing, is that you've always been able to create multiple streams. So even though you and your wife were divorced, and you said you had the co-op in Brooklyn, you guys moved here. You had homes, residencies here in Atlanta.
Yes.
So you had, you had multiple little tracks going on for you. So that worked out. But for somebody that does not have those options, what can one person do? What can we do?
Well, one thing with this economy, you got to change with the dynamics. So I always tell people is assess the credit first.
Okay.
Because credit is still king.
Is it still king, Carl?
Still king.
Because people sleeping on it. People are
now more than ever.
Really?
I just had someone just call me before I came to the show
of course
that wanted to finance their business. But they had bad credit. And so that's going to hinder them from getting even a $10,000, $20,000 startup to start their business or improve the business. Refinancing properties. If you want to get a HELOC, you need good credit.
You gotta have good credit.
680 minimum score.
Is that for personal and for business? You have to have a 680, or what? So regardless whether it's a business loan or personal loan, somewhere around 680 and up makes it a good credit score.
Yes.
Okay.
So for personal loans and HELOCs, they want you to be about 680 and above. Business loans, you can get loans below 600, but it's going to be a higher interest rate.
Okay.
And you got to make good money with the business.
Okay.
But for you to get a good quality loan from a credit union, you're going to have like a 680 and above score.
Okay. And so people need to realize that credit is still king, to your point, because that's going to help you move some pieces on the board, at least get the money that you need. For the business, if I have 680 and I need a business loan, what is typically the interest rate, or is it driven by how much I need?
Well, interest rate for business loan, because it's going to be on the tax ID number.
Okay.
It's not really going to be in your personal credit. They will run it for risk purposes.
Right.
But it'll be on the tax ID number. So those rates will be a little bit higher. So they may vary from 15% up to 30%.
Which is like credit card. If you got a credit card, you can pay them interest rates.
Right.
Okay, got you.
Right, but the difference is that it's a loan. So you have a term of like you might pay back a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Then you may have a line of credit where you just pay back what you borrow.
Okay.
And then you may have a revolving loan where like you pay it down, it's come back again. But they do assess it higher because it's going to be under the business, and then they'll look into your personal credit as a guarantor, right? They're going to look into the type of business that you have,
right,
and how long you've been in business.
Okay. Do you feel that because of the state of affairs where we are with this current administration, that those type of options are going to go away or going to be more difficult to obtain?
Yeah, it's going to be more difficult because even right now in real time,
yes,
because I talk to lenders all the time,
yeah,
they're assessing the market. And really, we're all on a 3-month window. Before it used to be 3 years.
Really?
It's 3 months.
Man.
Let's see what goes on for 3 months and then decide. 3 months and decide, which makes it hard for us to make a plan. Because usually back in the 90s and 2000s, you could have a 3-year, 5-year plan.
Yeah.
And it go as 80% as it could be.
Yeah, right.
Now, literally, it's a 3-month plan.
Wow.
Because think about this. 2022.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's chugging along. March 2022, we had 2 things happen. You had the Ukrainian war with Russia.
Yep.
And then the race went up.
Yep.
That threw everything off.
Yep.
Because at that time, then the lenders started pulling back because race was too high. People started they stopped relocating from different areas to Atlanta.
Yes.
One of the last shows that we did with CISA, we was talking about relocation.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Right. Literally right after that.
Right.
Throw that out the window. Because everything slowed down.
Everything, man.
Yeah, because when the race went up, that means borrowing money became more expensive. So that means that then people stopped relocating because they couldn't sell their house. Right. Because the race went up.
Right.
So now New York, which a lot of my relocation clients was coming from, $1 million house was 2.5% interest rate during 2021. Then it just jumped up to 6%, 7%. So then you lose those buyers that's buying the person house that's relocating.
Yes.
Then they now can't buy the next house.
Right.
Because the rate's too high for them.
Everybody's stuck.
Right.
Everybody's stuck.
So to go to say, in a nutshell, that was a 3-month plan. You wake up January 2022, you say, okay, I'm going to do this. March, you threw that out the window.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, after the election, people was like, oh, okay, I think things are going to happen now. He's in office. He's crazy as can be, but maybe things will be going. There was a bump of people looking into houses, getting loans. There was some activity. Then we look into February 2025.
It stopped.
You had the tariffs.
It slowed down, yeah.
Government layoffs, Dodge, everything like that. Now you throw it out the window. Now we're like, okay, well, now the way he's rolling, you really got to have some type of 3-week plan because he might just wake up and, well, how he does it? Yeah, I'm going to do this executive order. Executive order. Yeah.
That's how it is. You wake up and you see him signing something. Oh, my God.
So I might have to come here more often. You might have to bring back every 3 months on an update. And I'll just break down what we're doing with finance, real estate, and credit because it is rotating now like the weather. Yeah. Yeah. You got to check Twitter and X, or what they call it, to see what's going on. Yeah,
because it's changing every minute. Yeah. They say every 3 weeks. So you find that, Carl, like at the moment, people are kind of like stagnant. They're just looking to see how markets are going to move. Even your refinance people that are refinance, they're kind of like holding, or what's going on?
Okay, so refinance people, they was holding to see about the rates.
Okay.
Right? I think now a lot of them like, hey, well, let me just get what I could get out of my equity because prices may fall. Values may fall.
God, yeah.
Because it was already a slow real estate market for the last couple of years, right? Now, with all these government layoffs, uncertainty, now buyers are now not going out there buying houses as much. They got a lot of building going on. As we see in this area, there's a lot of building going on. But you notice it's slow. It's going up slower than usual.
Slow, yeah.
Right. So with that being said, that's going to make the value start going down on some houses because there's not the bidding war that we had in 2021. So that's one. So people are trying to at least refinance or get a HELOC to pull some money out because they feel if my value goes down, I can't pull out as much. People buying it's got a wait and see attitude. They want to see what's going on, right? They want to see if the prices are going down. And also want to see if I got a job, basically.
More importantly, that part.
Because even with Dodge, even though it's supposed to cut down the efficiency of government, you still got a lot of people with government contracts, ancillary organizations that's affiliated with the federal government, so on and so forth. Then you got the consumer confidence. So you got the consumer confidence index. So if people are not feeling comfortable with the economy and life, they're not going to make purchases.
And that's
also.
Regardless of whichever party. Like, as a whole, people are not feeling comfortable. Is that what you're sensing? That's what I'm sensing.
On all sides of the fence.
On all sides of the fence.
Yeah.
It's like, we voted for him, but that's not what we expected.
Yeah.
But we were like, but the people that didn't vote for him was like, well, what did you expect? He didn't. He's doing everything that he said on Project 2025.
Yeah.
So at least he ain't lied about that part. He may not tell the truth about some other things.
Yeah.
But he's signing executive orders for almost literally everything that has been outlined on 2025. So we should not. We should not be surprised, but I think the impact, I don't think we realize collectively as a whole the impact that it would have on everybody.
Even the MAGA people. They're not wearing their red hats as much as they used to.
I don't see no Trump signs in the yards either.
Yeah, because think about it. If you cutting agriculture, USDA, he's cutting aid to other countries that was buying food from the Midwest, which was his big base. It's affecting them also.
And the percentage of farmers, there may be less than 5% of the farmers are black. So it wasn't really about us. Again, just like DE&I, not us, but still we still have some impact, but not as great as everyone else.
We was the face of it. But we're not the ones impacted, really. I tell people, I say, hey, it's above our pay grade at this point. You know, when you had a corporate job and they're doing all the stuff, hey, it's above your pay grade, you know. They're going to do what they do.
It's a lot of change. I happened to walk a couple of miles on the Beltline yesterday for some exercise. There was more protesting. People were silent, but they had big cue cards and billboards about people that we need the CDC back, people need their jobs, the Ukraine, everything. They were quiet, you know, so it wasn't any police having to police them, but they were holding up their signs. Like, I was like, wow, like the energy. And Atlanta's typically a nice place, but the energy overall from everyone is like, man, we just don't know. You know, and he's trying to change policy so that he could be in there another term. Oh, God.
So all I want to know is what Congress and Senate doing?
I don't know.
Like, why am I voting for people?
I have no idea. We have to piggyback on
because I mean, when Biden and them was in, anytime he want to do something, he would say, I can't do it because Congress and Senate is going to block me. This guy's just, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know?
He's just roguing.
So they got to figure it out, basically.
They got to figure it out and figure it out quickly. But in the meantime, we got to sustain what we got, right? And the one thing that I've been telling people, because it was an emotional election for some. People were in tears. They were very upset. And I was like, listen, I voted for Kamala, right? But keeping it a buck, Hillary Clinton did the same thing and she didn't get it. So the country was just not ready for a woman to be in that level of power, period, whether you were white or black. That's what it was. There seems to be more trust and confidence with Trump. Then you have some people that feel right, wrong, or indifferent. At least I know where he stands. He don't like me. He hate me. He racist. He's this. He's that. At least I know where he's coming from. I could deal with that. Okay. Then there's another pocket of people that was like, yo, I get the tax breaks. You know, so people have different reasons. For me, I feel that middle class America, Carl, we fund a lot of these institutions, right? Because we're going to work, we getting this money, we pay these taxes, right? Which he's trying to get rid of IRS and all that. And then we have the homes, so we have the mortgages, so we're keeping the financial institutions going because we paying them. So we don't have really a place in this world because it's either you make $250,000 or whatever the number is and higher to be considered rich or upper class. Otherwise, middle class is starting to, because I'm making, like Cat Williams said at the gas station at the pump, did I eat today? I'm making life decisions about eggs and bacon.
And avocados.
And avocados are high. Like, I'm like, do I really need it?
Well, it's like the middle class, it's just been getting squeezed the last 10 years.
Yes.
And that was at the boiling point. So it's like you're either going to be poor, where they just going to give you a little check, you get your housing, or you're super rich, where it don't affect you. you know. And that's where we're at, because even like all the stuff that people I talk to every day is middle class, upper middle class people, whether it's for real estate, small business owners. But small business owners, they make money, but they're not rich enough to be affected. They're going to be affected by everything going on. And they're always like a couple of months away from being bankrupt with their business. So that's just a problem with everything going on. It's affecting the masses of people, and people really don't know, well, what do I do going forward? Right. How do I make a plan? Right.
Is the plan the stock market? Is the plan for us, Carl, ideally to invest more in the markets? Because my take is this administration is not here to lose no kind of money. They're not here for it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to create this legacy to continue to be billionaires, and that's passed down to their generation, et cetera, et cetera. So they're not here to take no L's. Do we follow what they're doing? And personally, is it really clear on what they're doing? What are your thoughts?
Well, you're 100% right with that there. You got to follow the money. They always say follow the money. So what I tell people is just do a lot of reading. Yeah. And get, reliable sources. Like, I read Business Insider, right? Okay. I subscribe to Business Insider. I also subscribe to Housing Wire. So, they're not I call them kooky sites. Okay. Where, they follow left, they follow right. And it's going to be skewed towards them. It's just give the basic news. Right. So every morning I get up, I look at Business Insider, which give me a lot of stuff that's going on in business, the facts, right? And numbers. I read Housing Wire, it's going to give me about the real estate market, right? And then I read the New York Times. And what I do is I follow the money, I follow what's going on, and then you could get a gauge on, okay, they're making this move, this might affect this, right? And then you could do your 3-month plan, because we're talking about 3-month plans now, everybody, till further notice. And so what I tell people is don't go off of memes, don't go off of like social media sites, get credible sources. Right, okay. And not opinion pieces. Because when you read opinion piece, that's their opinion. Right. Everyone is tired of their opinion, but it's their opinion. Yeah. Read stuff that's the actual facts of what's going on. Like, okay, they're making this change. This company's going out of business. This area is affected with real estate. Those 3 publications to me, and I've been following for over 10 years, that helps me on what I got to do for business. That's good. There are a lot of changes that are going on. I am in the market, but I'm getting more exposure to it because corporations, they are what they are. They're trying to survive too. My 401, Social Security, okay, maybe not. It's on the fence. We don't even really know. But there has to be another way that we can legitimately make money. You know what I'm talking about? And so because of the boycotting of Target, their numbers are down. Because of the change in leadership at Southwest Airlines, now they're charging. The bags ain't free no more. Now you're getting assigned seats. Wait a minute. Frontier's jumping. Right. Exactly. They popping now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you just have to pay attention, to your point, Carl, to real news or real facts. You know what I mean? To kind of follow what's going on and really, start investing, even if it's just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be thousands. Maybe it's $100. Couple of dollars. Maybe it's not that Starbucks run all the time. Maybe it's not that Subway sandwich. Maybe it's, because you got E-Trade, Fidelity, they'll take any kind of money. And Robinhood. To get you in the door. What are your thoughts on the crypto? Is that something we should be leaning into, or you don't really study that much about it? No, I invest in it. Okay. Got a little piece of some Bitcoin here and there. Okay. I had ETC, Ethereum, Classic, stuff like that. Got you. So once again, you just got to read. So I'm going to reiterate back those 3 things I read, right, for everyone listening. So you want to subscribe to Business Insider. Business Insider, right? Business Insider is going to give a lot of the information like what she talked about. It'll tell you about stocks, crypto, business news, trends, everything like that. And you'll get to know the actual facts of what's really going on. So Business Insider will give me an alert on Monday, hey, Family Dollar's about to go bankrupt, for example, right? Yes. So at that point, then you could say, okay, Family Dollar's going bankrupt. Okay, are they going to merge with Dollar Store? Dollar General. Where are people going to go at that point? Right. They will talk about crypto stocks, changes in crypto. They'll talk about overall business news and how it's affected by the government. So that's Business Insider. You could subscribe to that.
That's good.
And it's not a lot. It's like $10, $5 a month.
That's good.
You go into Apple, your Apple store, download the app. You got the information coming to you
You're on
every
your phone
morning.
all the time anyway. You might as well read something.
Right, read. Right. Stop looking at people twerking.
Get off IG and read.
Or celebrity gossip.
Yeah, read.
You gotta read good stuff.
Read some good
so
stuff.
You got Business Insider, right? Housing Wire or HW, right?
Okay.
Download that app also. That's gonna give you the real estate news.
So that's going to tell me how my markets are doing, how my house is trending, just my neighborhoods in general.
Rates.
Is it all over the country, or they focus on specific areas?
All over the country.
Okay, great.
And they're gonna say, hey, well, Zillow's merging with Redfin, for example.
Yeah.
It's good to know because it's changing the market because they're making everything digital.
Yeah.
They're talking about the change of real estate agents, how they get paid commission.
Yeah.
They're talking about commercial real estate. So Housing Wire covers a lot of real estate news that you're going to get.
That's good to
because a lot of people get their real estate information from the crackhead at the corner.
Yeah. or somebody.
We had a show about that too in the past. That you get your best real estate deals from the crackhead at the corner because he knows everyone's selling.
He know everybody, and he keep an eye out for you. Slide him a few dollars. He look out for your property. Do you think?
Oh, and one last thing,
Sure.
because I want to make sure everyone get the three things that you need to be reading, right? So you got Business Insider, Housing Wire, and last the New York Times. Once again, get that in the morning. It's going to give you the news facts. You know, it's not skewed left or right. It's going to give you the hardcore facts.
It's gonna give you the facts. From a house perspective, do you still think it's good that someone owns a house during these times, these conditions? Is owning a house still worth it?
Yeah, because it's yours. That's one. Two, rent prices are skyrocketing.
True.
You know,
True.
So at least you're owning it, and then you also got the option of getting the equity as your house is building up equity. If you had bought with the rate was high in 2022, when it goes down, and it will go down eventually because when they raised the rates, it was just too fast, too quick. That caused a shock to the economy.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Because you went from...
It was like 4 points. It wasn't like 2 and went up to like 6 or something like that? Yeah.
So it went from 7% when I first bought my houses in the late 90s down to 2%. That took 20 years.
Yeah.
About. Then they reversed it in like 6 months.
Yeah, they did.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, so then it created a shock to the system. So that's why things really got thrown off.
I refi my house and got it at 2.1.
Oh, you're lucky. Yeah.
2.1, 2.3,
you
something like
keep
that.
Forever.
I'm keeping that. You know what I mean? But I feel that they'll get me on property taxes. So what I'm not going to get stung at with the mortgage tax, like, you know, locking in that. But your monthly payment still goes up based on your property taxes.
Did you try a homestead?
I did.
Yeah.
It's still. You know what I mean? We could talk about it offline, but I mean, something to tell the people is, you know, it's not just one thing. It's the city you live in, maybe your county. You know, some people are paying MARTA tax. It's all kinds of different stuff.
And then when I got in Florida, when I do refis in Florida, they property the homeowners insurance is so high because of the hurricanes. Yeah. So now when I try to refinance someone's house in Florida, when they got to get a new insurance policy, it's high. And, you know, they escrow the insurance and taxes and your monthly payment. Yeah. And so they got higher quotes because of all the hurricanes. Now imagine in L.A. now. Yeah. With the fires.
Yeah, and they was dropping people's policies and not honoring them.
And the policy is going to be higher now.
It's a mess. I feel like there is going to be a crunch and a squeeze. I don't know if we're going to have to open up our doors for people, for them to live in, or we're going to have to rent a room because it'll be cheaper that way, because you made a point. The rent is expensive, but yet people are stuck where they have a certain amount of money they've saved. If the interest rates are not affordable, then what are they going to do? You know what I mean? So they're kind of like stuck.
And you touched on it. That's like the top 3 things people are doing that we don't know they're doing.
What's that? Renting out rooms?
Yeah. There's people that's renting out rooms. There's people renting rooms from other people because they can't afford rent on their own, or their credit are bad, or they might have had a situation where they had to leave somewhere, and you know they put any eviction stuff in the system, so that follows them. And so they got to rent a room. And then you got people, like I said, their kids might have went out to college, or they got divorced.
Yeah.
And they have a house.
Yeah.
They can't sell it because the market might be slow. They might be upside down. They got to rent a room.
They got to rent a room.
Maybe that's a business you need to start. A room renting matching service.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to look into that and see, because people need somewhere to stay. And it's really getting critical. But yet when you drive,
I'll take 10% for that little tidbit.
I'll break you off, Carl. I'll give you some.
Hey, Real Chicks Rock, sponsored by Real Chicks Get You a Room. Yeah.
It's a real thing, because when you drive through Atlanta, just the city, they're building high rises every which way you go. There's something that used to be there is no longer there, and it's a high rise.
The dry cleaner's gone.
Yeah, dry cleaner's gone.
There's a building now.
The Checkers was gone. The Domino's, all that stuff is gone. The parking deck's gone by the Fox Theater. Everything's gone. So either it's a hospital or someplace medical or healthcare, or it is a high rise building. I'm trying to understand who is renting these spots.
I want to know too. Because I'm trying to figure out, okay, is all these high-rise luxury apartments going up, right? I'm like, well, who's renting them at the end of the day?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, a lot of people can't afford luxury rent.
And more importantly, who owns them?
Well, I know corporations are building and owning them.
Such as, are there American corporations or people from Dubai or the Far East?
It's a little everything. Could be Chinese companies, some of them, Russian companies.
Right.
Because that's they park their money here.
Yeah.
Because they can make more money here in America than where they're at. It's a safe haven for their money. So a lot of times, definitely them high rises are corporate owned entities that build them up and rent them out. They're not even like remember I think around 2005 they was building the high rises and then selling each unit. They're not even doing that no more. It's all rentals.
It's all rentals. So based on the current climate politically with the tariffs and etc., we don't see that will change our relationships with these corporations, especially not so much the American-based companies, but the international companies. Will that change that?
Well, it's already changing it because, they're doing their reciprocal tariffs back on America.
Yeah.
The supply chains are now starting to get thrown off. And then the way he's doing it, he's like, 1 minute you got 50%, next week you got 10%. Then next week we ain't gonna do it. Then we're gonna put it back if you piss me off. So just once again, it's uncertainty. The stock market don't like uncertainty. That's one.
No, it does not.
When the stock market crash, it messes up companies. Companies don't like uncertainty. So it's just a lot of uncertainty that's affecting everything.
Yeah.
And we just need the stability for everything to go forward. So it is affecting a lot of foreign investments. Putting in here, and then when you have all these changes, if you already these buildings that's going up now, even though they seem like they throw up in 6 months, it's been 3-4 years in planning.
Yeah, I understand.
So when you make these changes, it's hard, they can't pull it back. It's like we always said, you can't turn around a street with some of them big boats. You go on a cruise line. You go get somebody that missed the ship. The tugboats could go back. So it's the same thing with business. The bigger it is, the harder it is for them to make their changes. So they're not really happy about all of that because a lot of them are doing developing. I'm reading from the same sources that I told y'all to download. Duracell is bringing a
company
office here.
Yeah, right by Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Yes.
In front of the gathering spot.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, so much got built by the gathering spot. I drove right by it. I was going to an event.
Yeah.
And drove right by it. I'm like, where the gas spot go? Because they just threw up a building right in front.
Right there. Right there. Yeah. And that's a small little space. I think it's spring or something. But it makes sense because I think they're trying to maybe really get those Georgia Tech students. Maybe that could be that new relationship right there. As soon as they get out of graduate, they go to
Duracell, and they just put some luxury apartments there too.
Yeah, they put some luxury apartments there too, because that was the thing for Coke. Coke has a lot of Coca-Cola company has a tight relationship with Georgia Tech. Really look at a bunch of the officers from Coke. It's looking at the Georgia Tech sign right there on the campus. So a lot of the people that went to school at Tech, worked at Coke, and I think it's the same relationship that'll be for Duracell.
Duracell, right? Because it's going to be like a lab, electronics, stuff like that. So They're trying to get that from them.
Yeah, trying to be bigger than the battery.
Yeah.
Because the batteries ain't working.
Yeah.
they don't last forever. I find that I'm getting a pack. I have to buy a pack every couple of months because we going through them with remotes and all that kind of stuff at the house.
But everything's still battery. Look, even the cars.
Yeah.
We don't know. Duracell might be getting in the car business. Might be. Or they might be in already. They might do on another company.
They might be. They might be. There was a lot of buzz and talk about people turning in their Tesla cars, and then somebody said to me, but what about, it's supposed to be good on gas, good on efficiency because it's electric. I said, but other companies are making electric cars now, so it's not just a Tesla game. I guess if you want high end, but Audi, I believe, has a electric car, like at Mercedes-Benz.
BMW.
Everybody's doing
it.
Mm-hmm. So the game is not just for him anymore. One thing too, when you mentioned about supply chain, even just us getting our cars fixed, right? Typically when you go, they got the parts on deck. What does that mean? So now we're going to go, are we going to experience these tariff prices because it's international parts? They had to be imported. It's just a whole thing.
Yes, so it's going to be a little higher. Yeah. Then it's going to be a run on parts also where everyone's trying to hurp and get their parts just in case.
Just in case.
Then parts going to be on the black market.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's going to be crazy.
Get my car fixed in the alley somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I can't afford the dealership no more. Can't afford it. Let me tell. Listen.
Temu is affected. Shein is affected.
Shein.
Here, the bundles are here. Yeah.
This is all mine. I'm good. I grew this. This is homegrown. Shoot.
Right. Yeah. Everything's going to be high. And stuff is already high already.
Yeah.
Leaving the house is going to cost you $100 already anyway.
Yeah, it is high. It is high. We're going to be home. So a lot of Netflixing and chilling. You talked about finance. We talked about markets. We talked about politics a little bit. We talked about home ownership still. So let me ask you this. Based on what you're reading and your experience, because things is cyclical, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to be in this space forever. Any sense on how long we'll be in this low? What are the analysts saying? What are your thoughts?
Well, we still don't know. We're still in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So
really just getting started, right?
Yeah, we thought we was out of it after the election, that bump between November to inauguration.
Right.
Now with everything going on, they just got to see how it plays out, basically.
Okay.
So we're kind of in the beginning of it. Okay, how does it affect the tariffs? How does it affect the supply chain?
Yeah.
Do they make an adjustment? Do Congress and Senate step in to make adjustments because they see it's affecting their pockets, the constituent pockets. Now people are angry at town halls. Yeah. So it's a wait and see. When you double back and tell everybody once again, download those 3 apps and read every morning because it's changing in real time and have a 3-month plan.
It could be a long wait and see if he gets the opportunity to do another, like 2 terms. That could be 8 years versus 4.
Right.
Could be a long time.
Yeah.
My God in heaven. Let's talk about something more nicer. Let's talk about Boss XL. What's going on? You a magazine guy. You doing all kinds of stuff. You red carpet here. I'm not going to say nothing, but I see you wearing a World Series hat. This is just not a typical New York Yankee hat. He got on a World Series hat. You know what? I can't stand you.
And I got to tell you a story. I got a lot of stories.
Yeah, tell me a story.
Let me tell you a story about how I end up using this to get a free hat from the Atlanta Braves.
No, you did not.
Yeah, on the spot. So not too long ago, right, I got invited to take pictures and cover for my magazine. Everyone, we're going to get into the magazine in a minute.
Yeah.
Boss XL Magazine. Or you could pick it up at www.bossxlthemag.com. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. But they unveiled a stamp for Hank Aaron.
Yes, okay.
And they had a big thing at the park, Truist Park, right? So the Postal Service had wanted me to come take pictures for them.
Nice.
Yeah, and they paid me and everything too.
Nice.
Yeah, so I get paid to do photography. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do in this economy. I mean, real estate was slow. I started doing photography, but so they said, hey, come take pictures of Hank Aaron's widow. Yeah. Andrew Young is gonna be there. Karen Greer from the news was there.
Channel 46. Yeah, nice.
So some people from ESPN.
Yeah.
So I roll up with this Yankee hat, right? You know, so I roll up to the stadium, had the Yankee hat on. They're like, "Oh my God, how you gonna come to Truist Park with the Braves? We're honoring Hank Aaron with a Yankee hat."
Yeah,
I already knew what I had in mind.
Yeah,
well, I said, "Well, I don't have a Braves hat." You know, so then they said, "Well, what size are you?" So this is fitted. I just said 7 3/4. All I heard, they on the walkie-talkie.
You know
and
what?
Sure enough, they come down and bring me a brand new fitted Braves hat.
You know what?
On the spot. Yeah.
You always get stuff.
And
man.
the crazy thing was, right, I had that in mind when I left in the morning. I said, I'm going to wear a Yankee hat to see what they say. And sure enough.
And you got one.
Yeah.
You got a hat.
A brand new Braves hat.
What inspired you to do the magazine, Carl?
Okay, so I had written 7 books on real estate, credit, starting a business.
I have a few of those books.
And then I was always writing articles for different magazines. So I used to write for Rolling Out Magazine, Don Diva Magazine, Crave Magazine, Floss Magazine, Upscale Magazine. I had my own column for a while.
Nice.
So I always had my own vision to merge entertainment with financial literacy and entrepreneurship. Now, magazines kind of touch on it, but they don't go too in depth with, say, like real estate credit, because they got to go to an outside person. And a lot of times people in that game don't write, but I'm a writer. And I already was writing books, so basically I was like, well, if things are going along, I can always write about it.
Right.
From an inside point of view. That's one. But then also I just knew that our people like entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah, we do.
So I didn't want to have a magazine just on real estate and credit. I want to also put in entertainment, sports, what's happening, everything like that. You know, so then when I launched Boss Excel magazine in 2020, it worked out really good because it was a nice blend of entertainment, financial literacy, inside tips on business and credit, and then we also highlight business owners. So, you know, a lot of business owners that's doing big things also too, they wasn't really getting noticed by a lot of publications because they was writing about celebrities that got businesses,
right,
or someone that's $1 million.
Yeah, big
right
businesses.
But people want to know the mom and pop dry cleaner, the mom and pop restaurant, you know, the truck drivers.
Yeah.
How are they just doing it? Even if they mildly successful.
Yeah.
And I want to know the ups and downs. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have somebody with a restaurant to talk about. I started the restaurant. Here's my ups. Here's my downs. You know, tips. Don't hire your mama or your grandma as a cook. She might not show up. Stuff like that. And these are real things that people want to hear.
Yeah.
You know. And I also noticed one last thing is that people don't read 300-page books anymore. So they want to get quick information. We give it to you. We give it to you quick information. Bullet points, to the point, links somewhere you could get more information and stuff like that.
We may not read it. I'm a listener. So I'll listen to a book on Audible. So I listen. I'm a listener while I'm doing stuff. But yeah. So you started this in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was sitting at home.
You sitting at home. So was everybody else.
I try to be productive. You know, everybody's like watching Netflix and they was doing that Ouija thing. What's the little Ouija thing that everybody was doing where they was putting $100 in and gave it $800? It was like craziness was going on. So I said, I want to be productive, right? So I wrote 3 books, right? And then I said, I'm going to do this magazine because I got time. And my kids had just bought me a camera for Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah, I got me a Nikon, right?
Nice.
So I said, yeah, I'm going to start this magazine because I had no other time to do it, right? And then the day we launched it, unfortunately, was the day that George Floyd got killed.
Oh.
And we had some photographers in Minnesota. So we was getting information in real time from Minnesota.
Wow.
We was covering the protests around, stuff like that. And people was home. So people was logging into the magazine, reading the articles and stuff. In the meantime, I'm hitting them with like, well, how to legally get your PPP loan. How to make sure you could legally get your EIDL. Now, we was doing legitimately over here.
Legally.
You know, how to get your properties during a pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was working pretty good. So and then in the meantime, we also, here's your top things you can stream on Netflix and Amazon Prime when you're at home. And it worked out good because everybody was home. They was joining the site. I had a Facebook group with about 20,000 people. That was called the 800 Credit Score Club.
Yep.
So I moved them over there. Then it got hacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it got hacked. Yeah, I had so many people in this Facebook group.
Yeah.
That
you was leaving good tips in there.
Yeah, it got hacked. So every time I would say something, all these bots would come in. Hey, do my link, do crypto, do my link, do crypto. So I shut it down. Yeah,
but it was giving some good tips, and other people would weigh in.
Yeah,
and share their experiences or add on to it. So it was very informative. It was a
good community.
It was a good thing. You touched on it before, but it is really resonating now. How things just spiked up so aggressively because things were calm before 2020, before the pandemic. And even while we were in it, but I think as people felt like we were coming out, things just said, psh, it just skyrocketed. So do you find that now that you're outside, you're everywhere? You're at every red carpet. Yeah, you make me sick. Yeah,
don't forget, I have the event Wednesday. Got to come.
I'm coming. Okay, I'm
just making sure. Now you talk about red carpet.
Yeah. I better put on something nice. Knowing you're taking pictures and stuff. You're at Essence. You're everywhere. You're everywhere. Seriously, literally. The magazine is, taking you everywhere. Correct?
Yeah. So the blessing about it is I'm able to go to like different concerts. Film festivals are fun too. Oh, yeah, I've been to a few film festivals, Super Bowls. So when you get media, you write, you just and you go and just put in like I just like for the heck of it, I would like to request a media pass, and it was like here. I'm like, okay, great. And once you do it, write an article, they invite you back over and over again. I like perks. So we do write-ups on restaurants, and we get free food, and you go to these events. But cool thing, you meet all these cool people. You meet a lot of. You
never meet a stranger.
Nah.
No.
And the stories is a whole podcast. I could just have a podcast on stories. But just going to these events and I mean, like one story was like I go to a film festival in June in Miami, and Jussie Smollett was coming out with a movie.
Okay.
And I met him before. He invited me, and he liked the fact that we're positive. We're not going to talk about any craziness.
Right.
We covering his movie, which is really good, that he launched at this film festival. I'm just saying, eating sushi with Vivica Fox, like nothing, Yeah. And then giving credit tips to entertainers and sports people.
Oh yeah, you gotta help them because they some of their schools could be raggedy, right?
Yeah.
Because they ain't paying the bills, or they have an accountant handling everything, and they not keeping up with their money.
That's most of them.
Yeah, they not keeping up with their money, and so they don't know what's going on.
They baby mama, their mama, and their credit is bad. They don't even know what's going on. Yeah. Because other people are handling the business. A lot of times they don't got their entities structured the right way, and we go in there and tell them how to set up the right corporations and tax ID numbers and build a business and stuff like that. Yeah.
So for small businesses, what should they be set up as? LLC, small corporation? What is it for them?
Yeah, LLCs are easy to set up. Like for example, in Georgia, you could get one set up for $100. It's ready in about 3 days. Then you could go get your tax ID number.
Right.
I always tell people, get your tax ID number after you set the LLC. You get it confirmed, because if you pick ABC Enterprises, right, you want to make sure no one took it already.
Took the name.
Right.
Yeah.
So you put in ABC Enterprise, put in ABC Holdings and ABC Corporation, right? And then they'll tell you which one is available. Then you go get your tax ID number, because if you get the tax ID number first and all those are gone, you got to do it all over again, right?
Yeah.
So you get your tax ID number for free on irs.gov, and then you get your bank account. You would take your tax ID number, you take your corporation papers, and then go to a bank, create a union, and get your business bank account set up. Top 3 things I tell everyone to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And give the people a tip on how to repair credit. What do you tell the people? Because that's another thing. That's another revenue stream you have. Is that not correct? I'm not even gonna look at you.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
But it's all tied in though. So believe it or not, like you say, I'm everywhere. I got a lot. They're all tied in.
Yes.
Because someone may go online, see the magazine.
Yes.
They see something about their credit.
Okay.
They want to buy real estate. They want to get a mortgage, or they might want to start a business. So then they come in. We look at their credit first, and then at that point they could get a loan, a mortgage, or real estate.
Nice.
So it's all tied together.
One-stop shop.
Exactly. Like the Amazon. The Amazon, right? You could watch TV, or you could get a comb.
Yeah.
Right or wrong? Target, you could go get a blender, or you could get milk. So
It's a one-stop shop.
So you got to be a one-stop shop, and it makes sense because also, like, when people now, if they're looking for credit, real estate, they also get my tips online. But I tell people first thing now with credit is to go on Credit Karma Experian, even though the numbers may be off, but it's easy to read. So you want to go in there first, see your score. You want to see your credit utilization, if you're maxed on your credit cards. Because the way the algorithms are working now, if you're maxed out on your credit cards, they will ding you and lower your score.
Yeah.
So you want your credit, but you can't use it, basically. You know, so you want to see, okay, I got 3 credit cards. Am I maxed out on all of them, keeping me below 600? Then you also want to see any charge-offs, any collections, right? Because another thing that I see is people might have moved, and they get a old utility bill come to the old address, and they got a collection, they didn't even know nothing about it. That could drop your score.
Yeah. I got a notification from Experian Credit Karma. We noticed a decrease in your usage and credit. Yeah, because I ain't spending it.
Well, that's a good notification.
It was a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I was
most
like,
people
yeah.
like that. They get the other one.
No.
You got an increase.
No.
Yeah.
Decrease. No. I'm like,
And your score dropped because of it.
Coming out of there.
And let me tell you something about the collections that's important for people to know, because you'll get collections on small ones, but they add up. Whether it's utility bill, they'll come on if you move, and you might have your last bill, or they might go after you for your equipment. And you don't even know. You thought you satisfied it, and you'll get a collection for $200. Medical bill.
Yeah.
You might think your deductible covered something.
And it
the
didn't.
labs, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Collection. Old credit cards that you might have paid off. They might have sold the debt to somebody else. Collection. Cars.
Or an annual fee to keep the card even though you don't use it.
Right, exactly, that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Or you might have moved prematurely because you got another place or another job. They let you out your lease. But then to them, we're going to put them in collection.
Right.
So you always want to know about that, right? Because you want to see this stuff before you go in for a car, mortgage, or house. Or apartment.
Right.
Because once they run it, it's too late. It's there. So you want to look at it first, get it repaired, and then also you want to make sure not a lot of inquiries. A lot of times people go for cars, and they run it a lot. So they got 20-some inquiries that can affect your score.
You're trying to buy just one car.
One car, but they'll run it 20 times. Yeah. And with the insight with that, we're here just putting stuff on the table.
Yeah, we are. That's to help drive up the interest rate, right?
Well, what they're doing is a lot of car dealers, they get paid referral fees from different lenders. Okay. So what they want to do is they want to see, all right, who's going to give us a referral fee? Because car dealers don't make a lot of money on cars. They make ancillary money on the financing, warranties, bumper to bumper, services, stuff like that. So that's why, like, you get a car for like $30,000, it end up being $38,000 because they're adding on other stuff. Yeah, you know, the warranty is like another $2,000-$3,000. They're gonna give you something for your key, something for your window, anti-theft. Then they're gonna run the credit to see, okay, which lender will get this person into. Right. You know, so going back to the inquiries, you want to see how many inquiries you have to take those off, right? Because they're unauthorized. And then now we got an article on the magazine online, your student loans. You want to monitor your student loans also. Because now when he got in, they start putting pressure on the Department of Education. Now they're reporting people's student loans as derogatory. So in March, I had about 5 clients' scores drop 100 points overnight. Ooh. Yeah, because they thought they was in forbearance. They thought they was in deferral. Yeah. And then out the blue, Nelnet, Mohela started reporting derogatory and putting 90-day derogatory. Yeah. So then people now had to go call Department of Education or Nelnet directly or Mahela directly to get it updated correctly. Yeah.
And with him trying to remove the Department of Education, isn't this going to be a mess?
Yeah. Who's going to monitor a few things? Who's going to monitor the student loans? Who's going to disseminate grants, stuff for kids, scholarships? I don't know.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. We could talk forever. How can people get the magazine? How can they get the magazine?
Yeah. So online, you go on www.bossxlthemag.com. Instagram is the same. Boss XL the Mag on IG, and then online you can also order the print edition of the magazine. We come out with them every 6 months, our print editions, and you could get on MagCloud. You could go on MagCloud and put in Boss XL magazine, and you could order yourself a copy. And online we update all the time.
Did you take those pictures?
Most of them. Yeah, but I got photographers, videographers. They do the real professional stuff.
They do the real
stuff.
stuff.
Like the editing. Yeah. I just direct. I direct.
To throw my mic.
But the good stuff, real professionals, not a credit real estate guy. They take these. I do like the red carpet, take a picture. I do the concerts because hey, the bigger the camera, the deeper I go. Seriously, like when I used to first go to concert coverage, right? I had like an iPhone, and they made me sit in the seat. When I got my Canon, and I get into the gate. Then when I start attaching lenses and make it look all fancy, I'm backstage. I'm behind the stage. I'm eating food with the celebs. Like pass me that tamale over there. Oh yeah.
You are a mess.
Yeah, same thing with sporting events.
Oh my god.
You show with an iPhone, you sit 2 rows back. You come in with a camera with a long lens, you under the basket. Yeah, no, I'm being serious. I just did the SWAC. The HBCU SWAC basketball tournament. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was under the basket with my camera. Yeah.
You doing soccer? The Atlanta United?
Yeah, you know what? Thanks for reminding me.
They had the HBCU night last night, so that was probably pretty cool. But yeah, you need to get with them.
Thanks for reminding me because the World Cup is here next year.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I did NASCAR.
You did?
I didn't do it, but I get it. With the tennis. Golf,
See, I'm gonna come with you because I am media.
You're media. You're media. So all you got to do is I get it, and I say, "Hey, Michelle, this the credentials show, but you be on time."
Yeah, can't be late.
And give me some good content and pictures. Cause look, I got people go right, and they show up late. Then they taking messed up pictures, and people are crooked on the red carpet. I can't do nothing with it.
You can't do nothing with that. So I need to get a real camera because the iPhone pictures.
They'll clown you with an iPhone. You can go to a porn shop
and get a camera.
Yeah, get a camera and just walk around with it. You probably gotta take 2 pictures.
Yeah.
As long as you have it.
Then I'm good.
Yeah.
My son's doing photography on the side too, just so you know. He's really getting paid for it, some opportunities. So
nice.
Super excited. He's like, Mom, I can do this while I'm at college, make some money and that
kind
of stuff. So so that's what he's doing.
And tell him definitely get in with the school and take pictures for their websites, their Instagram, stuff like that. Yeah, he could go with the teams.
He does.
Yeah,
he's super excited. So he's been doing that this whole year. Hence why I'm tired because I drive him to the games, I pick him up, he's there all night, that kind of thing. So, but it's been good. It's been fun. Girl, you are awesome.
Yeah,
one of my you're one of my favorites. But you're very informative. That's what I like because I get smart every time I talk to you.
Yeah.
So tell the people the 3 things they should be reading. The 3 things that you read that help you. What are they?
I'm gonna add a 4th.
Oh, it's a 4th.
Yeah, 4th. Yes. So remember now, download Business Insider, Housing Wire, New York Times, and Boss XL magazine.
Little plug.
Little plug.
How can people find you? Are you behind the magazine and such?
Okay, so you got the IG for the magazine, Boss XL the Mag, and then my other Instagram is Carl Agard _ the Money Expert, and that's why I put like my tips, real estate tips,
Yeah.
me chilling on the red carpet, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
all
You know,
that
I mix it
stuff.
in, make it fun.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to have fun though, cause I mean it's real out here. You gotta get a laugh. You gotta like look at some fun because everything, you know, even on the internet, if it's not advertisements, it's celebrity gossip.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and or something negative. So I just try to lighten someone day and educate them. Yeah, that's all I could do.
You're doing a good
Yeah.
job. You're doing a good job.
I try.
You're a good guy. You're a good guy. So, Carl, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man, I'm happy
I guess
to
I
come
see
back
you
again.
next year and 3 months from now.
A couple of months, things are changing.
Look, 3 month pivot.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months, we'll see how things are because we don't want to be in this state forever. But if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this was good. Thanks, Carl, so much for your time.
Thank you.
So listen, you know me, Real Chicks Rock. I am everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Go to the website, realchicksrock.com. Subscribe. We do a little newsletter, a little blogging. Get the little monthly blog from us. We still got t-shirts out there. You know you need one. Weather's changing. It's getting all hot. You need to pop your collar with the Real Chicks Rock t-shirt on. We got them out there for you. This was awesome. Listen, before I go, I always like to leave you with a little something. You know, Frankie Crocker. I love listening to Frankie Crocker. WBLS 107.5. If you're from New York, you know what it is. Every night before he left his show, he would say this: may you live to be 100 and I live to be 100 minus a day, so I would never know that beautiful people like you had passed away. Until next time, be well, take care, and continue to rock on. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.